We're really blessed that in the Northern Hemisphere, what we're hearing about in these readings in recent days is happening around us. Just yesterday, my father was talking about how he was going to bring the combine to get serviced so it's ready to go for next year. He was all done with it. And in these recent weeks, we've been hearing about the final harvest. And today's readings is no exception. We heard in our first reading from the book of Revelation about the Son of Man imagined with a sickle. Now we can imagine this being Jesus, and that sickle representing the harvest that is about to take place. Now in recent weeks we've been hearing about these last things. Now these are the four last things that the church has understood as heaven, hell, death, and judgment. Real happy topics, but important topics. And there was a recent article in the periodical First Things by the Australian Bishop Cardinal Pell called Last Things. And in that article he talks about how his experience about 50 years ago in Australia was that confessionals were filled with people, or there were lots of people who were very scrupulous, who were worried that the smallest thing might be a mortal sin. And he says in his experience as a priest and cardinal that the pendulum has sort of swung the other way. And we see that in different theologians or churches' teaching where it seems as though heaven exists, which we have always believed, but maybe there's nobody there. Maybe not even the devil is there. And it becomes so much that everybody is going to plan to go to heaven, even our pet goldfish Walter. And he says, maybe that's also another extreme. He was giving an example of at a recent conference in Rome, he was helping to train the new bishops or the baby bishops. And one of the baby bishops brought up the question of how we answer that question of how many will be saved determines how we evangelize. He says, if we believe that everyone will be saved and everyone will go to heaven, what's the point of evangelization? What's the point? And he said, why bother? And if everyone is saved, why would Jesus even bother with the cross? It's a provocative question, and it invites us to think about ourselves. And we think about our challenge of evangelization. It should be motivated by love for saving souls, by the desire that all people may know the joy of heaven. We know that it begins with us, by changing our hearts, that by looking at the way in which we witness to the gospel. So in these weeks when we're hearing these challenging readings leading up to our beginning of Advent, maybe they might challenge us to look personally at our own lives and to reflect on, are we preaching the good news? But the good news is that the harvest isn't yet ready, that there's still work in the field to be done. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, I invite you to click subscribe below so that we can continue to spread the good news of Jesus Christ. God bless.